Within 10 months, 5.5 kilometers of paved roads designed as a dual carriageway with a central median, 13.5 kilometers of gutters, and a retention basin should emerge at the Komsilga City Relay. A major project costing 6.1 billion CFA francs. The official launch of which marks the beginning of a new stage in the transformation of this site, located south of the Burkinabe capital. The local population see in these infrastructures the first concrete signs of the transformation of their municipality.
Here, the roads of a city are already taking shape, new. Here, new modern and organized neighborhoods will rise. Here, infrastructure, services, and economic activities will be born. And new employment opportunities. Here, finally, a new page in the history of Komsilia will be written. The site at Rela Cité will durably change the face of our municipality. It will contribute to making Komsilia a modern, better structured, attractive city that is fully integrated into the development dynamic of Greater Ouaga.
This first phase, called Priority, constitutes an important milestone in the realization of the overall project. In the long term, 10.4 kilometers of modern roads and 33.8 kilometers of stormwater drainage works are planned. The Komsilga Relais Cité also aims to become a true urban hub. Commercial and hotel centers, modern markets, bus stations, and cultural spaces are among the planned infrastructure. Through
this project, we are not just laying concrete and asphalt. We are creating the conditions for better managed urban development. We are improving mobility, strengthening security, supporting the local economy, and preparing for the future. Designed as a structuring urban hub, it must offer the population a modern, secure, and functional living environment. Through
these developments, the Komsilga City Relay should gradually take on the contours of a new modern urban space, structured and adapted to the needs of its future occupants.
Returning this evening to the visit of the Minister of Health to Banki and Suru. After the stop in Tugan and Thomas, the minister was in Dedugu. On August 11th, he visited the construction site of the city's regional university hospital center. He also visited various departments and met with staff for frank discussions, not without paying tribute to their resilience. Developments with Nabaida Dabiri, Claude Wedraugo, and Akani. Pauline Abikaba,
the head of health, Lucien Robert Jean-Claude Kargougou, at the construction sites of the Dedugu University Hospital Center, accompanied by the governor of Boucle du Mouhoun, assesses the progress of the work. After a tour of the various blocks, the minister feels dissatisfied with the rate of progress of the work.
This is a construction site whose progress does not satisfy us. Not at all.
So, hello again, brothers and sisters. That are some of the development that are going on in Burkina Faso, that the president of Burkina Faso, together with the Burkina Faso government, they are coming up with a new city that will be acting as an interconnect between that city and the main city, which is Ouagadougou. Now, those are some of the positive things that President Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. And one thing that is amazing me is the project will cost 6 billion CFA franc. And 90% of this money that is going to the project is contributed by the locals. Can you even believe that? That they are not borrowing money to do this project. And if they are borrowing money, it's very little money that they are borrowing to put into this project. So they normally have this kitty called the Faso Mebo Initiative, where all Africans of goodwill and those in Africa actually and those in diaspora can contribute to this kitty so that the government will be using this money for development only. Those are some of the good things that are happening in Burkina Faso. So if someone if someone talks negatively about President Traore, I feel so bad, because we as Africans, we can see what Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. And in fact, Traore is setting up example for all African leaders who want to develop their countries to emulate from. Okay? So the money that are used in building this project is basically the money that are contributed by their own people. Even if they can borrow some money, the money that they can borrow is very little compared to what the natural or what Africans of goodwill those in diaspora, those in Africa, those in Burkina Faso have contributed. That is now what we call Pan-Africanism, okay? So a leader who sees vision. In fact, it's not only this project coming up with the city, no, we also have another project by the name, actually it's building a university hospital. So there's a new modern university hospital that is also being built by President Traore. Now, when I talk about President Traore building the hospital, I don't mean that he himself is taking part in building the hospital, no. The project is initiated by himself, and this project will be funded by the Burkinabés themselves. Spirit of Pan-Africanism, okay? That is the spirit of Pan-Africanism, that Africa is going to realize its potential. Africa is going to realize its potential. So even though most people are against this, most people are against what Traore is doing in Burkina Faso, but at the end of the day, the Burkinabés themselves and we Africans, we can see what is happening in Burkina Faso. And we are proud of what is happening in Burkina Faso. It is my hope, that a good number of Africans can take part in this initiative, contributing to the Faso Mebo initiative, okay? And I read it somewhere that President Traore, I'm not sure of this, but I read that Traore himself was warning the Burkinabés in the diaspora that they should come back home, okay? That they should come back home and invest in the mother continent. Failure to, he was going to deny, or rather to revoke their citizenship status. Teaching the people, teaching the citizens the essence of Pan-Africanism, the essence of loving their countries. That is what Traore is doing. I also read somewhere that during the school holidays, when other countries, pupils in other countries, when they go to visit their homes, okay, and to visit their grannies. So when you go to Burkina Faso during their school holidays, the children, they normally, the state is normally taking these kids and teaching these kids Pan-Africanism, teaching these kids patriotism, and at the end of the day, they are coming up with a generation that knows the essence of Burkina Faso. They know they should protect Burkina Faso for the benefit of themselves and the coming generation. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening in Africa. There are good things happening in Africa, even though Africa is portrayed as poor. Africa is always portrayed as poor, okay? But there are good things happening in Africa. Africa is always portrayed as a desert. Actually, Africa is portrayed as a desert. But you can see I'm here in Africa. Can you see? Just have a look at how green this place is. And I'm just in Africa. So it is how we are portrayed by the foreign medias, that we are portrayed as poor, as a continent that is lagging behind, but we have to speak positivity about this continent. We have to give flowers to the leaders who want to catapult this continent to another level. That is what is happening in Africa. That is what we are talking about. So kudos to President Traore for catapulting the economy of that country to another level. Kudos for maintaining the dignity of Africa. Kudos to President Traore for making sure that Burkina Faso is going to realize its potential. No, I'm not talking about Traore alone. We also have other leaders in Africa, okay? A good example is President Kagame of Rwanda, doing massive transformation in Rwanda. We also have President Duma Boko of Botswana, talking positivity about Africa. That is the same thing, the same energy that we as Africans should embrace. We have to embrace that for us to be even respected when it comes to the dinner table of civilization. We will be respected if we develop our countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If it's your first time here, kindly like this video, share it with your friend, and see you next time. Bye bye for now.